to become pretty numb to media bias these days. So the Ingraham angle is keeping track of the worst offenders of the week. Joining me now is one of our faves, Sarah Carter, Fox News contributor and host of the Sarah Carter podcast. Along with me is Adam Guillette, who is president of Accuracy in Media. All right, panel, let's begin with the reaction to the comments the president made yesterday about potential treatments for COVID-19.
What's more important than Lysol Gate itself is what this all suggests about the president's ability to handle this crisis.
Someone who follows him closely and adores him will take a little sip of Clorox bleach today to ward off the potential of the virus, and they will die.
This is beyond snake oil.
That sounds like Mad King George in his last days.
Sarah, okay, the president maybe wasn't as clear as he could have been, but he's hearing a lot of inputs from the medical community about all these, this is new, that's new, this is an innovation. So was he telling Americans to drink Clorox? Really?
Absolutely not. Laura, these are journalists that don't let the facts stand in the way of their lies. They hate Donald Trump, the president, so much that they'll twist his words whenever they can at the expense of the American people. Any American and anybody with common sense that watched his briefing knows that he didn't do this. But remember, Laura, this is the same kind of attitude that they took with the Russia hoax when they lied to the American public, that they did with Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, and why it was so easy for them to believe all of the lies that were being spewed by former senior Obama officials. They just continue to do the same thing over and over again. But this is why the president does the right thing. He gets out there every single day, does these briefings directly with the American people, and just cuts out the middleman, which are the Trump-hating media.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, Adam, when I'm watching this, and I think, did he say Clorox and Lysol? And so, like, Lysol comes out with some big statement, and I guess people could take words, and I mean, I guess they could, but you really get the sense that the media are trying to drive this narrative that Trump not only doesn't want to save American lives, but he's basically just, you know, the Terminator here, but not in a good way.
Well, not only that, it seems like they're on the other side. Trump is trying to fight the disease, and I'd swear that some of them are rooting for the disease. They rooted against hydroxychloroquine working. They were hoping it wouldn't work. They're rooting against sunlight killing it. They're rooting against the summer heat wave killing it. You'd swear they're for the disease. The only advisable actions that they offer are to A, freak out, and B, worship Andrew Cuomo. That's all they've got.
Yeah, well, again, any bit of good news or treatment that even helps some people is immediately discounted if Donald Trump in any way advocates for it. All right, here's a bogus narrative, guys. The media is pushing this about who HHS Secretary Alex Azar put in charge of leading the coronavirus task force.
A Labradoodle breeder is currently running the day-to-day federal government response to a once-in-a-century pandemic at HHS.
A man named Brian Harrison, who, quote, had joined the department after running a dog breeding business.
He bred Australian Labradoodles, and Reuters reported that people in the White House would, in fact, refer to him as the dog breeder.
All right, there's just a few problems here. The dog breeding is Harrison's family business. He's not in charge of the task force, and has experience in similar roles, administrative roles, in multiple administrations. But dozens of media outlets ran with this, Sarah.
They did, and it's so unfortunate that they just spread disinformation and lies to people, and it's also really dangerous because when you think about this, Laura, I mean, even though it seems funny on its face because you just say to yourself, like, how can this be? How can these mainstream media outlets, the ones that we trusted in the past, be just so lackadaisical and lie this way without any attempt to correct the record is dangerous on a national level. The real liars are China, Iran, North Korea, issues all over the world that we have to take care of. But they are obsessed with President Donald Trump and destroying anyone around him in his administration. And that's Adam, the really frightening part.
It's mind-blowing, actually, at this point. And, Adam, I want to play this from Wolf Blitzer following tonight's coronavirus briefing. Watch.
It's only a 22-minute briefing. This is the first time that the president has been afraid to answer questions from reporters. The president clearly, shall we say, was chicken today, didn't want to answer questions that the reporters had prepared.
Oh, Wolf calling the president chicken, Adam. First, the media complained the briefings were too long. They didn't even carry the briefings often on CNN because they said it wasn't news. Now they're complaining that he, on a Friday night, after the guy hasn't, basically left the White House in weeks and weeks, that he's having a shorter briefing. I thought it was a great briefing because it was to the point. Why give them all these stupid bites of the apple, Adam?
Well, this is an exciting day for Wolf Blitzer because with the airports empty, half of their viewership is gone. But by you airing his clip, he's actually going to be seen by people tonight. So it's going to change things up for him, which is exciting. But no, it's outrageous. These folks are peddling fan fiction, stories they know not to be true, that radical leftists want to read and want to watch. They'll make up anything, they'll smear anything, they'll stretch any truth if it's a story that they know people want to read.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's now on to business of America. It can't just be all COVID all the time. We have to move on to all the other challenges our country's facing, how to reopen, innovations. But I think these briefings should be to the point, answer a few questions when there's real news, and then move on and go back to working on reopening the country safely. Guys, great to see both of you on a Friday night. Thanks for being with us.